The Taisho period within Japan spanned the years of 1912 to 1926, coinciding with the reign of Emperor Taisho. This era in Japanese history is one of great change within the country, with the formation of the Diet, which is essentially Japanese parliament, marking a shift from the previous monarchy system to a much more democratic system still used today. Within this video, we will be discussing a specific feminist group that was active during this period, Shinfujin Kyokai, or the New Women's Association, who will be referred to as SFK throughout this video. SFK was founded in 1919 by three women, Hiratsuka Raicho, Ichikawa Fusai, and Oku Mumeo. It should be noted that feminists during this period of Japanese history believed that the state should protect classes of people from exploitation. Because of this, Hiratsuka believed that women should identify as a singular class of people in order to receive the rights and protection from the state, which was one of SFK's founding beliefs. It was with this belief that Hiratsuka delivered her speech towards the unification of women to the All-Kansai Federation of Women's Organizations in November of 1919. The main point of this speech was that women would need to stand together in order to achieve rights. Within the speech, Hiratsuka mentioned two forms of rights, Joken, women's rights, and Boken, mother's rights. This relates back to the phrase Ryosai Kenbo, or good wife, wise mother, discussed in the Meiji era video, and the reason for her using these rights specifically will be explained later. Notably, Hiratsuka did not raise the issue of voting rights within this speech. After this speech was delivered, Hiratsuka and Ichikawa drafted SFK's two central demands, which would eventually be presented to the Diet. The first demand was a revision to the Public Peace Police Law, as this law prohibited women from attending political meetings and rallies as well as joining or forming political parties. The second demand was a revision to the divorce laws of Japan at the time. The divorce laws at that time made it so that a man could divorce his wife if she had committed adultery, but women were not allowed to do the same with men, even if the man had contracted venereal diseases, which would be undeniable proof of his adultery. SFK wished to make it so that men would have to be screened for these venereal diseases and that a woman was legally allowed to reject afflicted fiancés and spouses. The first demand was criticized by detractors, stating that it would change the wife's role within the family unit, thereby destroying it. Ichikawa countered these criticisms, stating that a more politically aware wife would be much wiser and therefore better able to raise children, and as such actually improving the family unit. The second demand was also met with criticism, the most prevalent of which was that it would undermine the husband's dominance, once more harming the family unit. SFK responded, stating that venereal diseases from the husband would cause much more damage to the family, especially children. It should be noted that SFK's counters to these criticisms relate back to the phrase good wife, wise mother. This is because within Japanese society at the time, it was accepted that the mother played a large role within society, and as such it would be much easier to argue for rights to be given to mothers than it would be for women in general. Priority was given to the first demand, as the Public Peace Police Law prevented women from political activity, potentially including the activities SFK were partaking in at the time. The first demand was submitted to the Diet in a petition format on February 26, 1920, however the Diet was adjourned before it could make it to the floor. In July of 1920, a man named Tabuchi Toyokichi also called for the revision to the Public Peace Police Law, arguing that it would protect women who were seen as weak at the time, however the Diet was once again adjourned before it was able to be voted on. On February 26, 1921, a full year after the initial presentation of this demand to the Diet, the House of Representatives nearly unanimously called for a revision to this law. However, they were opposed by the House of Peers, most notably Fujimura Yoshiro, who voted against it. Without the support of House of Peers, the bill then failed. However, finally in 1921, the Diet amended the law, allowing women to attend political meetings and rallies, but not join or form their own parties. Though this was only a partial victory, there was much celebration over it, and SFK disbanded shortly after the amendment to this law.